Awaken your spirit. Call on the divine for miraculous blessings each morning. 3 days of prayer. In the quaint village of Emberdale, where the morning mist whispered through the rolling hills, a divine call echoed. Villagers spoke of miracles, of lives changed in the blink of an eye. That was exactly what Mary needed. At 38, life had grown heavy with the unbearable weight of despair. Her son's illness pushed her into a chasm of darkness. Yet, somewhere deep inside, flickered a glimmer of hope: the upcoming 3-day prayer retreat at the old chapel. As dawn broke on the first day, the chapel doors opened wide. With every step inside, Mary felt an electrifying energy surge through the air. She knelt before the altar, her heart pounding with earnest prayers. Each word she uttered resounded with the weight of her struggles, the unpaid bills, the fear of losing her son, the longing for a miracle. Above her, the light filtered through stained glass, casting a tapestry of vibrant colors that danced softly upon the stone floor, a manifestation of heavenly presence. The local priest, a compassionate beacon of hope, shared stories of those who had come before. People flooded back into the chapel, recounting tales of inexplicable healings. One man stood up, tears glistening in his eyes, speaking of how he'd walked in blind and emerged with sight. These testimonies ignited a spark within Mary's weary soul. Could this retreat be the divine intervention she so desperately longed for? But doubt clouded her thoughts. Could prayer alone heal her child? What if it wasn't enough? A myriad of voices around her rolled in whispers of disbelief and conventional medicine, drowning out the sacred murmurs of faith. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. On the second day, Mary faced a tempest of fear. News arrived, swirling in from the ether. Her son's condition had worsened. Panic gripped her heart, melting her earlier resolve. In that moment of desperation, she threw herself onto the floor, crying out for St. Jude, the friend of the hopeless. The familiar prayer flowed from her lips, a lifeline tossed into the abyss of her despair. Around her, fellow parishioners rallied in prayer, the atmosphere thick with love and faith. Hushed whispers morphed into fervent pleas, weaving a blanket of hope over the chapel. As faith burned brighter, an unexpected stranger entered, bathed in an unearthly glow. He moved like the wind, a gentle force bringing whispers of healing, sparking an electrifying unity among the gathered souls. Mary's heart raced as the room pulsed with expectancy. Was this divine assurance or mere coincidence? Doubt wrapped its icy fingers around her heart, but the warmth of collective prayer ignited her spirit anew. With the cries rising, the sanctuary swelled with a palpable energy, a moment suspended in time. Just as prayers reached their peak, the stranger spoke words that felt as ancient as scripture, promising hope for the weary. A hush fell over the congregation, and in that silence, the possibility of a miracle hung thick, intoxicatingly close. As the prayers echoed with unyielding determination, Mary's heart beat like a drum, resonating with the rhythm of faith. Would her cries be heard? Would her family find the healing they sought? The air vibrated around her, a sacred whisper that something profound was just beyond the horizon, waiting, preparing to change everything forever. On the final day of the retreat, the sun rose with a golden brilliance that bathed the chapel in warmth. Mary awoke with a sense of anticipation thrumming in her chest. Something felt different, almost electric. She dressed with purpose, her steps lighter, as if the burdens she had carried began to lift. This was at the moment she had been praying for. As she walked to the chapel, the streets of Emberdale felt alive, filled with the chatter of neighbors preparing for worship. She could feel it in the air, a sense of community gathering, of prayers intertwining. With every step, Mary envisioned her son as laughter, his spirit, untouched by the shadows of illness. The visual ignited a fire within her heart, pushing aside lingering doubts. Upon entering the chapel, Mary took a seat among the congregation. The altar glimmered, a beacon of hope adorned with fresh flowers, each petal vibrant with life. Today, they would pray not just for healing but for faith to conquer fear. The priest, his voice steady and rich with empathy, reminded them, "Today is about miracles. Everyone here has come in faith, longing for assurance and hope." His words resonated deeply with Mary, wrapping around her heart like a warm embrace. As the prayers began, deep-rooted emotions emerged. Mary closed her eyes tightly, drawing in each breath, committing her will to believe to faith that love could triumph over despair. The sound of collective voices rose like a crescendo, a sea of devotion washing over her. Each prayer lifted her spirit farther, up toward the sacred realms where miracles were born. Then, the stranger returned. This time, his presence was even more profound. He looked around, his gaze settling on Mary as if he could see directly into her heart. "Today, hope shall rise," he proclaimed, his voice echoing with power. "In this sacred space, we break the chains of doubt."
Come forte in faith.
Mary's heart raced. Could she step forward? She felt the warmth of countless hands, holding her back with love, yet urging her to take the leap. A push and pull danced within her spirit, a divine tug pulling her closer to the altar, where miracles breathed. With a sudden surge of courage, Mary rose. Every footfall felt like a declaration of faith. As she approached the altar, a hush fell across the room. She stood before the stranger, her heart a battleground of hope and fear, whispering under her breath, "Lord, let your will be done." The stranger placed a hand over her head, a warmth radiating through his touch, igniting every dormant cell in her being. "You have prayed for your son," he said softly, "and the heavens have heard." Mary felt it, a rush of warmth, a light enveloping her, as the chapel seemed to shimmer in response. The walls echoed back her prayers, amplifying them in ways she could hardly fathom. Tears flowed freely down her cheeks, a mixture of fear, faith, and an overwhelming sense of divine presence. In that sacred moment, she could feel hope cocooning her heart as it braved the unknown. But even as her heart soared, uncertainty clung to the edges of her spirit. What would this miracle look like? Was she prepared for whatever awaited her when she returned home? With each question, the anticipation grew heavier. The moment hung in the air, suspended in divine mystery. With a final prayer, Mary breathed deeply, "Lord, whatever comes, let me embrace it as part of your plan." And as the congregation roared back their "Amen," Mary felt the heavens shift. But the greatest change was yet to unfold. Waiting beyond the chapel doors what awaited her once she stepped back into the world? As Mary stepped out of the chapel, the world felt anew. The sunlight, warm against her skin, seemed to pulse with promise. She paused, allowing the air to fill her lungs, the scent of blooming flowers mingling with her determination. Today was not just another day, it was the beginning of a new chapter, written in faith and hope. With each step, she felt lighter yet full, as if every doubt was being gently peeled away from her heart. Her mind raced with visions of her son. In her mind's eye, she saw him running, laughing, the laughter that once rang through their home before illness cast a shadow over their days. The very thought fueled her spirit, lit a fire of unshakable belief within her. As she wandered through the streets of Emberdale, the warmth swelled. She passed familiar faces, each of whom greeted her with wide smiles and supportive words. In their eyes, she could see reflected what she felt herself, a glimmer of faith fed by the same spirit that had gathered in the chapel only moments ago. The community's support wrapped around her like a comforting blanket, promising she was never alone in this journey. Suddenly, Mary came across a group gathered at the park. They hoisted paints and brushes, children laughing while they splashed colors across canvases. It was a scene of pure joy, enkindled by creativity and exuberance. They beckoned her over, their smiles both inviting and contagious. Join us. Let us create something beautiful," called out a little girl, her hands painted with bright shades of red and blue. Mary hesitated. She was filled with purpose. But was this part of her path today? Yet deep down, something whispered, pulling her toward them, a sense of unity, of shared joy. Maybe today, embracing the beauty in life could be as powerful as her prayers. Without thinking any further, she stepped into their circle, dipping her fingers into colors vibrant and alive. As she painted, she felt a release. Each stroke transferred the weight of her worries onto the canvas, blending her emotions into art that spoke of love, healing, and hope. She was creating something new right in front of her, while simultaneously letting go. "Look, Mary. It's beautiful," one of the kids shouted, pointing to her piece. A collection of colors merged into swirling patterns, a mural telling a story, her story. With each compliment, she began to believe that artistic expression could be an avenue for healing. Yet, as the sun began its slow descent, her thoughts wandered back to the altar, to the warmth of the stranger's hand. The convergence of art and hope struck her. Could creativity and faith intertwine to manifest a miracle? The question lingered in her heart as the day wound down, weaving an unbreakable thread to her prayer. The children giggled and danced away, leaving her alone for a moment. Mary stood still, gazing at the masterpiece before her. The colors were vibrant, alive, much like the hope she held for her son. But here, the question remained, what was her next step? A knowing passed through her. Perhaps the mystery was in not knowing too much, in surrendering her worries. What awaited her now was a tapestry of possibilities, as vibrant and unpredictable as the colors on her canvas. Her gaze lifted to the horizon, where the sky blushed sunset hues. Each shade whispered of promise, of transformations yet unseen. What could be next, Lord? She wondered, her heart open and ready to embrace whatever he had planned. As Mary stood there, gazing at her creation, she felt a stirring in her heart, a sense of awakening that surged through her very being. The vibrant colors seemed almost to pulse with the heartbeat of something greater. She could sense it. Something divine was pulling at the edges of her understanding, whispering promises of new beginnings and eternal hope. In the fading light, the world around her began to transform. Shadows grew longer, but with them came a gentle glow, as if the very air was imbued with a sacred presence. She took a deep breath, inhaling the fragrance of blooming flowers mixed with the essence of the earth, and found herself cradled in a space of serenity. "Thank you, God," she breathed out softly, each word a quiet prayer. "Thank you for this moment, for this gift of creation." Mary felt the warmth of gratitude radiate within her. It was a simple yet profound acknowledgement of the layers of support she felt from the heavens, from her community, and from the very heart of her son. Then, a voice broke through her solitude. "Mary, look." It was the little girl who had invited her to paint, her eyes sparkling with delight as she stood before a newly painted canvas resembling a kaleidoscope of dreams. "Your colors are magic." The child grinned, her hands still speckled with paint. "You made a rainbow." Mary smiled, feeling a rush of joy. Perhaps through these children, God was reminding her of the innocence and hope that often whispered in life's simplest moments. "A rainbow of love, isn't it?" she responded, kneeling to the girl's level, the sweet scent of paint mixing with the evening air.
"Yeah."
"Love and hope," the little girl shouted, throwing her arms wide, as if to embrace the entire universe. In that shared moment, Mary understood. The smallest voices can carry the loudest messages. She pondered whether she could take that beauty and share it beyond this park, into the lives of others who felt lost or downtrodden. As twilight deepened, a sense of purpose swelled within her. But even as her heart soared, a question flickered at the edges of her thoughts. What if she could harness that magic and channel it toward her son's healing? If colors could speak of love, could her own devotion and creative energy call forth miracles? In those moments, the sun disappeared entirely behind the horizon, and stars began to twinkle softly above. Mary felt the invitation of that vast, cosmic tapestry, and it infused her with a profound sense of possibility. Each star was a promise, shining bright and clear in the night's embrace. With renewed determination, she turned her gaze back to the park, spotting the families and children packing up their art supplies, laughter trailing behind them like breadcrumbs of joy. Suddenly, Mary was seized by a thought: she could organize a community art night. An event where everyone could gather together and create, bringing hope and healing into the open air. She envisioned that gathering now, laughter mingling with prayers, community love transforming fears into vibrant expressions of faith.
Yes,
She whispered triumphantly to herself. We can share this light together. Yet, as she began to formulate plans in her mind, a sense of urgency struck her. What if her idea bore fruit, but the journey ahead was fraught with challenges? What if her expectations were too high? Those thoughts threatened to encroach on her joy, swirling like storm clouds across the sky. Lord, I need your guidance, she murmured earnestly, her heart open once more. Show me the way, lead me through this uncertainty. As if in response, a single star shined brighter than the rest, as though a divine hand pointed toward the heavens. Mary's heart quickened with renewed courage. She understood that faith was not always about clarity. Sometimes it was about taking one bold step into the unknown, trusting that God would illuminate the path just ahead. With excitement and trepidation, Mary gathered her things and made her way homeward, contemplating the gathering she would host. As dawn approached, she could feel the threads of hope weaving together, tighter, stronger, each colored strand a promise of what was yet to come. With a heart full of what-ifs and dreams yet unfurling, she whispered into the night, "What will tomorrow unveil, Lord?" The darkness answered with a sense of sacred mystery, leaving her spirit eager and ready for the next divine encounter. As dawn broke, a soft light crept over the horizon, illuminating Mary's path as she made her way home. The vibrant colors of her painting lingered in her mind, and her heart danced with the possibilities that lay ahead. A community art night felt like not just a gathering, but a divine invitation to weave together the stories of many into one tapestry of hope. What would it look like? Would people come? Doubts flickered at the edge of her thoughts, but each time they did, she banished them with a quiet prayer. Lord, fill this night with your spirit. Let it be a sanctuary for all. Mary reached home, still buzzing with inspiration. She quickly set to work, jotting down ideas for the event on her kitchen table. Brightly colored flyers began to take shape as she penned heartfelt invitations to her neighbors. She envisioned joy, laughter, and encouragement blending into the heart of each participant, hearts mending as they hummed along with creativity. A gentle nudge swirled inside her, in excitement, mixed with trepidation. What if her effort connected to something greater? The thought sent shivers down her spine, igniting a spark of courage. Yet, each time she reached a high point of hope, she wrestled with her fears. What if she failed? What if no one showed up? Focus on love, Mary, she whispered to herself. It's not about numbers, it's about hearts. And in that moment, she realized it wasn't only her idea, but God's grace that would transform this gathering into something miraculous. Several days passed like bright brush strokes across a canvas, full of effort and unplanned surprises. Her doorstep welcomed neighbors, each expressing their excitement for the art night. Old friends shared stories, laughter fluttered through the streets, and soon the daisies and dandelions painted the park once more with vivid life. Mary's heart swelled as they all embraced the collective dream. On the day of the event, butterflies danced in Mary's stomach. She arrived at the park early, each step accompanied by a prayer. Help me to see, Lord. Open the hearts of all who come. The sun began to shimmer as children's giggles rang out and families sprawled across the grass, unpacking their brushes and colors. Laughter broke the tranquil morning, creating an atmosphere filled with warmth and anticipation. Yet, as she looked at the canvas set up before her, a shadow of doubt flickered like leaves rustling in the wind. Would her vision be enough to spark change? In that moment, an elderly man approached, his back slightly hunched, but his spirit radiant. "What a beautiful day for creating, huh?" he said, his eyes sparkling. Mary felt hope bloom even in the face of her hesitation. "Yes, it is wonderful," she replied, her smile echoing the joy in her heart. People began to gather, chatting and exchanging ideas. Mary facilitated the moment, guiding them gently, weaving encouragement into every conversation. As colors mixed and laughter echoed, she spotted a few parents holding back, hesitant to join in. "Come, create with us," Mary called out. "This is a space for everyone." With each word, she poured out love, love that reached far beyond herself. Slowly, the hesitant parents approached, drawn by the encouragement, embraced by community, and soon found their feet finding rhythm in creativity. And then everything shifted. A flood of energy surged through the park. Children smeared paint on each other's faces, adults flicking colors of joy across canvases. The air was thick with laughter, and Mary felt the miraculous unfolding right before her eyes. But then, it dawned on her the purpose of the night was not just to paint but to heal. "Lord," she whispered, standing back and taking it all in, "may this night be a balm for every wounded heart." As evening set in, and the sun dipped below the horizon, a magnificent glow illuminated the park. It was as if heaven itself was showering down its blessings, and Mary pondered the uncharted territory ahead. What would their journey of healing unfold next? In the golden twilight, she felt a sisterhood forming all around. Hope had ignited. Now all that was left was for the divine plan to unveil itself. Will the light lead us deeper into this promise? She thought, filled with eager anticipation. Little did she know, the night still held a deeper calling. As night settled in, the stars began to twinkle like scattered diamonds in the deepening blue sky. The ambience was electrifying, a mix of gentle breezes and the warmth of shared stories. Mary stood amidst the colorful canvases, her heart swelling with gratitude. Every brushstroke was a testimony to the laughter, the vulnerability, and the healing around her. Yet, still, in the midst of joy, a fleeting shadow crept back, its whisper almost imperceptible yet demanding her attention. What if this is just a moment and nothing more? The question lingered in her heart like an unanswered prayer. She took a deep breath, intent on dismissing the doubt, and instead focused on the smiles surrounding her. Children giggled, their faces adorned in splashes of paint, while adults engaged in animated discussions about art and life. The elderly man from earlier approached her again, a warm smile gracing his weathered face. "You see, my dear, what you've done tonight is much more than art. It's a gathering of spirits." His eyes glistened with wisdom. Mary felt a wave of warmth wash over her. "It's a community. It's about healing, not just creativity," she replied. "Exactly," he said, his voice holding a depth she could feel vibrating in the air. "You've opened a doorway, my dear. The real masterpiece is the love woven through every person here tonight. Trust it." Mary watched as he returned to the gathering, sparking laughter with an anecdote from his youth. Suddenly, a louder cheer erupted from the other side of the park. She turned to see a group of kids around a canvas that had morphed into a riot of colors, their hands painted in vibrant hues, celebrating art with uninhibited joy. With each burst of laughter, Mary recognized that healing was not just a destination but a journey with many vibrant stops along the way. It was in these moments that hearts were mended and souls rejuvenated. As she stood there, she sensed the divine presence mingling with the laughter, filling her with an inexplicable peace that enveloped the park in thick layers of grace. But amidst the joy, a thought bloomed, a gentle tugging at her spirit. What if this night was just the beginning of something greater? Something that could stretch beyond the confines of the park, weaving through the very fabric of their community, sparking hope during the darkest times. "Lord," she whispered, gazing at the night sky, "what is it you desire from us?" At that moment, the gentle breeze picked up, whispering through the trees, carrying with it a sense of promise. A few feet away, a young woman with tears glistening in her eyes approached Mary. I thought I'd lost my touch, my love for art, she said, voice trembling with emotion. But tonight, you've reignited something in me. Thank you. Mary could feel the depth of her words, the weight of her struggle. You're not alone, she spoke softly. Art connects us. It binds us together even in our hurt. Let us continue this journey. As they embraced, a hush fell over the crowd, as if everyone was interconnected in that shared moment. Hope thrummed in the air, pulsing with the promise of new beginnings. They stood, united, surrounded by the night's glow, realizing that their collective healing was just starting. With night deepening around them, Mary felt a nudge, once more a whisper of a journey yet untold. What if we started a monthly gathering? A safe space. Mary. A voice interrupted her thought. It was David, her neighbor. You've lit a fire here. What if we could invite other communities? Expand this joy? Her heart quickened. The spark had ignited larger flames, and she sensed the power behind it. Together, they could create an even larger tapestry of hope that spread far beyond their own circle. Are you leading us, Lord? She thought, filled with excitement and anticipation. What awaited them beyond this night? What would it mean to open the doors wider and let the divine plan unfold? A mysterious energy pulsed in the air, beckoning them towards a future brimming with possibility. As the gathering continued, the air was thick with possibilities. Laughter painted the night, twinkling like the stars that shone brightly above. Mary's heart raced at the thought of extending this gathering. Her spirit trembled not with fear, but with anticipation. The elderly man's words echoed in her mind. Trust it. Mary, are you with me? David's voice cut through her reverie, grounding her back to the moment. Oh, yes, absolutely. She turned to him, eyes sparkling with hope. Imagine what we could do if we invite others from nearby neighborhoods. It could be the start of something beautiful. David grinned, his excitement contagious. We could offer workshops, have storytelling circles, even provide meals. There is so much potential. Around them, more people were drawn to the conversation. A young couple approached, their hands intertwined, eager to join the discussion. We love the idea, the woman chimed in. We can help organize. We've seen how art can change lives. It helped us through a tough season. You see? David said, watching as more friends and neighbors gathered. It's not just your vision, Mary. It's ours. God has stirred something powerful in this community. Mary felt the warmth of their enthusiasm envelop her, like a comforting embrace. And as laughter radiated throughout the park, so too did a series of quiet voices of faith. She could sense each one was bearing witness to this movement. It wasn't just art, it was the essence of who they were in God's eyes. Suddenly, a flurry of fireflies danced around them, reflecting the beauty of community illuminated by shared grace. Mary was captivated, their flickering light a symbol of divine presence amidst them. Look at that, she exclaimed. It's like God is confirming our vision. In that glimmering moment, she felt the presence of something greater than all of them combined. It was an undercurrent of unity and faith, connecting hearts. As conversations flowed, a voice pierced through the laughter. Excuse me, everyone. An older woman with gentle eyes stepped forward, clutching a canvas she had painted. I've been coming here for years, but tonight feels different. I want this next chapter for our community. If we're meant to expand this love, we must start with prayer. Mary's heart quickened. Yes, prayer is the foundation. The thought filled her with a sense of urgency, a call to action, a call to community. Let us open each gathering with prayer, inviting all faiths to share their hearts and healing. The crowd murmured in agreement, and Mary's spirit soared with joy. It was becoming clearer now. This evening was the spark. God was orchestrating a movement. They would gather not only to celebrate creativity, but to foster healing in collective prayer. Yet, as excitement settled in, doubt tried to creep back again, rolling in like an unwanted fog. What if it doesn't work? What if we fail? She thought, pushing against the fear. Lord, she whispered inwardly, clear my heart. Give me courage. Just then, David placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Trust in this flame we've ignited. It can burn away anything that holds us back. The energy shifted. A moment of divine clarity washed over Mary. What if we truly devoted ourselves to this to grow not just as creators, but as a community of faith, united in purpose? The murmurs grew stronger, filled with mounting excitement. What if they opened up a sacred space, not just for art, but for prayer, where they could call on the divine for miraculous blessings each morning? As the stars above glimmered down like promises waiting to be fulfilled, Mary felt that something monumental was on the horizon. With every heartbeat, she could sense the anticipation of hands joined in prayer, minds quiet in reflection, and hearts expanding in love. What awaits us on this journey of faith? She wondered, glancing around at the faces of the community full of hope, full of promise. And deep within, the question lingered, exciting and haunting. What divine plans did the Lord have in store for them as they stepped into the unknown? As the gathering began to settle, a sudden hush fell over the park, as if the very air waited in anticipation. Mary could feel a collective breath held, hearts aligned in a sacred rhythm. It was an invitation to the divine, a calling deeper than their words, a yearning to draw closer. David caught her gaze. "Shall we lead a prayer now, as a symbol of our unity?" he suggested, sensing the electric atmosphere too. Mary nodded, her heart thrumming with life. "Yes, let us invite everyone to join." As she turned towards the crowd, excitement coursing through her like a river, she called out, "Let us take a moment to pray together. Let this be the first of many sacred moments we share." People began to gather closer, hands reaching out to touch one another, a tapestry of humanity interwoven with faith. David led the prayer, a soft yet powerful voice rising above the whispers of the night. "Lord, we gather here, like these fireflies, drawn by your light. Illuminate our hearts as we seek to serve our community." Mary felt the heat of his words, each syllable igniting her spirit further. She closed her eyes, her head bowed, and in the stillness, she felt the presence of God wrapping around them all. It was more than a prayer. It was an infusion of life into the very soul of the gathering. As David continued to speak, she envisioned the art workshops, the meals shared, the stories told. Each promise wrapped in prayer was a strand woven together into a beautiful tapestry of hope and trust. Mary silently thanked God for this moment, for her growing community, for the way he moved among them. When David finished, the air felt charged, the energy pulsing with a stronger clarity. "There is something uniquely powerful in our prayers tonight," he said, stepping back to look around at the faces before him. "Can you feel it?" A few murmurs of agreement floated back. Eyes were sparkling with understanding. The elderly woman who had spoken earlier stepped forward again, her canvas held like a treasured gift. "I painted this with my heart. It reflects the very essence of our hopes and dreams. May it inspire us." As she unveiled the artwork, gasps of wonder swept through the crowd. The canvas bloomed with colors of joy, vibrant reds, soothing blues, and warm yellows that seemed to dance, as if alive. It was a reminder of what God was creating among them, something bright, radiant, and full of life. "What if we create a mural here?" Someone shouted from the back, excitement boiling over. "A mural that represents our journey together."
Yes,
Came another voice, louder this time. "Each person can contribute. We can pour our creativity, our stories, our prayers into it." Mary's heartbeat quickened as she looked around at their faces, now alight with potential. "A mural of our faith, our stories, and our unity," she echoed. "This isn't just art. This is our legacy." The crowd erupted with applause, enthusiasm pouring over like the joyous summer rain. Mary felt overwhelmed with gratitude. Each laugh and cheer was another brushstroke on the canvas of their community, a testament to what they were becoming in God's presence. Yet, in that moment of elation, a flicker of doubt whispered in her heart again. "Can we actually pull this off?" That nagging voice returned, haunting her with memories of past fears. "Trust, she recalled as she steadied her heart. David's earlier words resonated. Trust that God has a plan. Finally, David wrapped his arm around her shoulder. This is just the beginning, Mary. Together, we can do anything. As they began to engage in lively discussion about the mural, plans forming and hopes blooming, Mary felt the weight of possibility crush the doubt. There was indeed a divine spark in the air, a profound reminder that they were not alone in their calling to create. Little did they know that the following days would bring challenges that tested their resolve in ways they never anticipated. What would the future hold as they embarked on this journey of faith and creativity? A question floated softly in the night air, lingering like the scent of blossoms. What would be revealed as they stepped into the divine mystery of their calling? The energy in the park buzzed with excitement, but Mary felt an unfamiliar knot tighten in her stomach. The beautiful visions hadn't vanished, but uncertainty lurked in the shadows of her heart. As conversations swirled around her, she found herself caught in a whirlwind of emotions, joy mingled with anxiety, faith clouded by fear. Mary, a gentle voice broke through her thoughts. It was the elderly woman with the painting, her eyes sparkling with wisdom. You've stirred something amazing in all of us. Remember, God works in miraculous ways. Trust him. Her words wrapped around Mary like a warm embrace. Thank you, Mary whispered, feeling a flicker of hope reignite within her. As the night deepened, laughter and shared stories danced through the air. They formed small groups, each one buzzing with ideas for the mural. Mary wandered to a corner where a few children had gathered. They chattered excitedly, sketching their drawings on scraps of paper. Their pure, untainted enthusiasm tugged at her heart. What colors are you going to use? She asked, kneeling beside them. Everything, one girl exclaimed, her brown curls bouncing with her excitement. I want to paint a rainbow. Oh, yes. Rainbows remind us of God's promises. Mary responded, remembering the covenant God made, the vivid spectrum a symbol of hope. Suddenly inspired, she suggested, why don't we make sections for everyone to paint? Each rainbow can represent a part of our journey together. The children cheered, and soon the idea spread like wildfire through the crowd. They were creating a legacy not just for themselves, but for future generations, anchored in God's love and unity. Mary could almost see the mural emerging in her mind, bright colors reflecting their shared stories and dreams. Yet, deep down, a stream of fear trickled through her thoughts. What if they couldn't pull it off? What if the mural fell short of their vision? David appeared beside her, noticing the furrow in her brow. Hey, what's on your mind? I'm just wondering if we can really do this. It feels so big, and I don't want to disappoint anyone, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. He looked at her with understanding. It is big. But remember, we're not doing it alone. We're a community in this together. God is at the center. Look at the joy around us. That's his work. Mary glanced around, absorbing the faces shining with passion, the children eagerly sharing their colorful ideas. It was a reminder that the unfolding of love and creativity wasn't wholly on her shoulders. Their faith intertwined, ready to rise together. Let us trust in this moment, David continued, his voice filled with warmth. We'll face challenges, but when we look back, we'll see that each step was guided by him. As the hours slipped by, they shared laughter, food, and heartfelt stories under the starlit sky. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation, each moment woven with sacred threads of fellowship and faith. Then suddenly, the light of a flickering lantern caught Mary's gaze. A woman nearby looked deeply moved as she clasped her hands together, her voice rising with fervor. Lord, shine through our efforts. Let this mural be your canvas. Mary joined in that prayer, her heart swelling with hope. As she lifted her voice to the heavens, a sense of peace descended upon her. Maybe this was the divine mystery unfolding. Let us meet tomorrow, she called out to those gathered. We can start planning where each part of the mural will go, and we'll gather our supplies. May it bring our community closer, David added, his voice strong and encouraging. A collective amen. echoed back, reverberating through the park. With renewed faith, Mary breathed in the night air, sensing something incredible was waiting just around the corner. What challenges would come to test their trust? And what hidden treasures of grace would they discover along the way? The adventure was just beginning, and she could feel God's stirring mysteries waiting to unveil. As the morning sun rose gently over Emberdale, dancing light streamed through the windows of Mary's home, transforming the early hours into a sacred canvas of hope. Today was the day the launch of their community mural project, a symbol of healing, unity, and faith. Mary felt the exhilaration shimmering in the atmosphere. She dressed with intention, each garment imbued with the excitement of what lay ahead. Today would solidify their collective vision, bringing together the dreams and prayers that had danced through the night. She hurriedly organized her supplies, reminding herself, "Lord, guide this day. Show us the way forward." Arriving at the park, she was greeted by a vibrant sight. Families, friends, and children gathered with brushes, paints, and laughter, an embodiment of divine love manifesting in joyous color. Mary's heart soared at the sight of her community ready to create, to heal, to shine. "Good morning, everyone," she called out, her voice ringing with the energy of renewal. "Thank you for being here today. This mural will not just be art, it will be a testament to our journey. Each color will express our hopes, our prayers, our stories." A chorus of enthusiastic agreements swelled through the crowd, buoying her spirit. As they began to plan, sections for the mural emerged: a vibrant rainbow for hope, a swirling sun for joy, a tree for nurturing, each stroke serving as a prayer to the heavens. Yet, amid the excitement, a flicker of doubt washed over her. What if my dreams for this mural don't match the reality we want to create? The question lingered like a shadow. But then, the elderly woman appeared again, her gentle smile radiating reassurance. "Trust the process, dear. Just paint. Let God's love move through you." Her words floated around Mary, soothing the insecurities that danced at the edges of her thoughts. As they painted, memories emerged alongside the vibrant colors: laughter shared, tears washed away, hands clasped in prayer, moments transformed into pure love. "Look!" A young boy pointed at the tree they'd painted, its branches expansive and welcoming. "This is where our dreams can grow." Mary felt the affirmation in her heart, the unexplainable connection rising as each person contributed their piece to the mural. Hours slipped by, joy enveloping them like a warm embrace, until laughter turned into a harmonious symphony. Yet, just as they painted deeper into the day, clouds began to gather in the distance. A shadow swept over the park, swirling winds carrying a hint of change. Mary felt a deep stir at the pit of her stomach. No, she cast her gaze to the skies, uncertainty creeping in. "Lord, please let us finish this." The wind picked up, swirling around them like a chorus of worries. But as she observed the communal energy, she realized something profound. False doubt could not extinguish their light. They were more than the sum of their parts. They were intertwined in faith. "Let us pause for a moment," Mary shouted above the rumbling winds. "We need to pray for clarity and protection over this gathering." They formed a circle, hands clasped together, hearts open wide. Each prayer that rose from their lips elevated the atmosphere around them. Mary felt the weight lifting from her spirit. "Lord, engulf us in your divine protection. Help us stay united through the storm." As their voices resonated, something miraculous began to happen. With each sincere plea, the clouds outside began to dissipate, clearing like sorrow washed away. With renewed determination, they returned to the mural, laboring with fervor. As colors mixed and stories poured forth, the sun began to break through the clouds, bathing the park in golden light once more. And then it happened: they saw it emerge, the mural blooming as if divinely crafted, swirling colors harmonizing, depicting love, healing, and community. Each brushstroke tangible proof of their prayers answered. At last, as they stood back to admire their creation, awe enveloped Mary. "Look at what we've done together." She turned to the group, eyes shining with gratitude. This mural isn't just paint, it's our testimony. It represents our triumph over fear, our embrace of hope. Embraces were exchanged, cheers erupted, and warmth filled the air. Joy bubbled forth like sparkling water, and Mary felt it the sacred breath of God moving among them, blessing their efforts, their faith. As the day waned and dusk floated in, community members gathered in a circle to dedicate the mural, inviting everyone to share their reflections. Each voice spoke of healing, unity, and love as triumph, every story layered upon the last, creating an eternal echo. As she listened, Mary discovered her own heart healed more than she thought possible. This is why we stepped out in faith, she thought, to witness God's glory in our lives. Finally, they knelt together in prayer once more, hands clasped and hearts united. Lord, thank you for the beauty of this day. May this mural be a beacon of hope, a source of inspiration for those who find their way here. And as the amens resonated through the park, a profound peace washed over them, a knowing that they were part of an unfolding miracle. They would continue to gather, to create, and to share. Today wasn't a conclusion, but the start of something beautiful. With smiles and hearts afire, they took steps back into their lives, their spirits now threaded with new purpose. And so, the legacy of mountain-moving faith, colorful creativity, and united love had only just begun. Emberdale would echo with stories of hope, and as Mary looked at the mural one last time, she smiled knowing that their prayers had undeniably taken flight. Now, dear friend, this is the moment to show your support. Don't hesitate, subscribe immediately to our channel, and don't miss the next powerful stories overflowing with faith. Leave a like now to help propel our community, feeding the algorithm with divine purpose. Share your thoughts and testimonies in the comments, letting your voice be heard. And remember, don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness God's miraculous manifestations. Only true servants of God understand the importance of uplifting each other. Your voice matters.